Good morning. It's 3 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Way down there, Erin, local news, and it's up next.
2 young people dead in more violence in our community. We'll talk more about that. Big parade today. The Miss USA folks are in town in force, and there's a huge town hall meeting going on tomorrow. Jay Darden will be here. Lots of others.
What?
Yep. It's going on 11 o'clock.
Here in town?
Yep. Tomorrow morning. We'll tell you more about that.
Got a headline here from the Hayride, published on Friday evening. John Bell lost the Senate today. Here's why. So the Senate did a budget.
Oh, we've got that too. Oh, boy.
We will give you details, plus Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A town hall meeting is scheduled for tomorrow morning beginning at 11 o'clock, the old Shumpert on Margaret Place. It's all to talk about the impact of the state budget on the 3 medical teaching schools here locally and other local institutions. The public is invited and encouraged to attend. Miss USA events kick off. Matt Parker with that.
All 102 Miss USA and Miss Teen USA contestants are in town for the upcoming event. This past weekend, there was a huge welcoming party at Silver Star Smokehouse in Bossier. The event was attended by all contestants, both mayors, and several other local leaders. Today, there will be a free Mardi Gras parade for the contestants in downtown Shreveport at noon. The pageant, which will be held at George's Pond and Hirsch Coliseum May 21st, is expected to generate close to $5 million for the local community. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Senate Finance Committee passed a budget that would restore funding for nursing home care, but it would cut all other departments by some 24%. Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden says this would be devastating.
We will regress faster than what happened during the entire previous 8 years when public support dropped to the lowest in the country.
One cut, he says, would be that there would be no more SNAP benefits in Louisiana. Now, there are indications this will be the final week of the regular session. LAPolitics.com publisher Jeremy Alford says the budget battles will escalate after the Senate Finance passed that spending plan, which is quite different from the House.
When faced with having to cut healthcare services and access to healthcare over cutting higher education, they chose to put those cuts more heavily on higher ed.
Now, a Senate committee will review a controversial bill today that would renew the contract with Harrah's Casino for another 30 years. The bill has gotten opposition from statewide leaders like Senator John Kennedy, who says Louisiana should hold out for a better deal, and lawmakers are concerned about a provision that calls for less legislative scrutiny over future contract renewals. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says there's also another concern.
A lot of people feel that with 6 years left on the Harrah's license, why does it need to be pushed through right now?
DeBose says he doesn't see the bill passing in its current form. A violent weekend leaves 2 dead. A bloody weekend in our community. In the wee hours of Saturday morning, the passengers of 2 cars got into an altercation on Hearn Avenue. People in both vehicles were firing shots until 15-year-old Leandre Spates was killed. Then early Sunday morning in Cedar Grove, a man was shot several times in the upper body. Several people were detained in both shootings, but at this time, no arrests have been made. A bill to ban the use of cell phones while driving expected to be voted on this week by the Senate. The bill would outlaw the use of any mobile device not operated through a wireless system. A deputy's on leave after a shooting. Bossier Sheriff Julian Whittington has placed a deputy on paid leave following a Friday night shooting. The unnamed deputy shot Benjamin Sellers during a domestic abuse and armed robbery call in Houghton. The incident remains under investigation. 4 years after Oregon legalized marijuana, it has an oversupply of pot, and some farmers are now switching to hemp. The Shreveport Mudbugs will play for their first ever Robertson Cup tonight. The Bugs will take on the Minot Minotaurs in Minnesota in a one-game winner-take-all championship match. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Tomorrow, a hot day with intervals of clouds and sunshine and a high right around 90. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Good morning. It's 12 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty at 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. The KEEL app, always a free download, presented by Office Furniture Source. I am looking, if you guys don't know about the Senate budget, the state budget that the Senate passed on Friday.
Oh, my.
Let me start.
Not the Senate Finance Committee.
It didn't go to the floor yet.
No.
I got a little ahead of myself. I apologize. Here are two headlines from the Hayride. You can read them at thehayride.com. Number one, John Bell lost the Senate today. Here's why. So do we want to talk about why he lost the Senate, or do we want to talk about what the Senate did?
I can tell you what the Senate did quickly.
To, in the minds of some, betray, turn against, and tell John Bell to go spin on it.
Yeah, well, what had happened was
Yes.
the Senate Finance Committee, in going over the House budget, House Bill 1, which the governor said would cut the nursing home funding. 37,000 letters went out Thursday.
Let me jump in. In the Hayride article, John Bell lost the Senate today. Here's why. Basically, what they say is that, and you can tell us, as I'm talking about this, I want you to sort of filter in your mind the things that you heard Friday from some lawmakers, legislators off the record.
Let me tell you what the shell game was first before you read that.
Okay.
They decided to put the funding back in, the Senate Finance Committee did, put the funding back in for nursing homes, but then cut all other departments 24%.
24.
24.1%.
So for 6 months or a year or however long it happens to be, when Erin McCarty says to every legislator, literally from John Bell to Jay Darden to Walt Leisure to everybody in state government in a position of power, Dr. Sean Wilson at DOTD.
Yep.
Why can't everybody? Why can't
Everybody belt tighten.
just everybody cut 10%?
Well, you know what they did?
What's that?
Jay Darden, God bless his head, he comes to the Senate Finance Committee with a stack of documents, and he started spieling off what we would cut. Here's what we cut. They kept interrupting him. We understand it's a bad budget. We understand it's a bad budget. One of the things he said, you might as well just say cut LSU football. He said, this will result in no more SNAP benefits in Louisiana. No more food stamps in Louisiana if you pass this budget.
Wait a second. What was it you
ladies
texted?
and gentlemen.
What was it that Greg or you had texted me on Friday? That was, and I had responded, well, it didn't work scaring old people. Now they're going to scare black people. What was it? Was cuts
cuts to the SNAP benefit program. And what doesn't make sense with me for that is that the bulk of that is federal money. And so what he said was, we'd have to lay off 2,000 state workers under your budget.
Wait.
Mr. Committee.
Wait, so what Darden said on Friday was to the Senate Finance Committee.
Yep.
If you do this,
here's what we're going to have to do.
We're cutting SNAP benefits, and we're going to lay off 2,000 state workers.
2,000 pink slips will go out. And the reason you might ask, well, why does cutting off federal money, how does that cut the budget? He said we wouldn't have the people to administer the program, so not only would we not be able to have the program, we'd have to send all that federal money back that we get for food stamps back to the federal government, and they would disperse that in other states.
The point of the Hayride article, how John Bell lost the Senate and why, was the scare tactics.
Yeah.
They just didn't buy it. They said, look.
They were John Alario, president of the Senate, and he's considered a rhino. I
apologize. Okay, I said Leger a couple of minutes ago. He's speaker. I got that. Okay,
right.
So we're talking about Alario.
John Alario,
who is a John Bell sympathizing Republican.
He helps him a lot in the Senate.
As is Darden.
Absolutely, they help him. And Alario was frustrated. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear him kind of calling him out, saying, we don't appreciate you coming in here and, and telling us we're awful people, that our budget's not responsible. How about the budget the governor presented at the beginning of the session? Was that responsible? Darden will know that wasn't either. Well, you gave us a budget that you're sitting here saying is not feasible, and now we give you our alternative, and you're just calling us out on. It was interesting. It was really, for people like me with no life, that was really good TV. Were they chastising? Oh, chastising isn't even the start of it.
Really?
They cut him off. He kept going through his list, and LaFleur, the chairman of the committee, kept going, Mr. Darden, that's enough. You don't need to keep going.
So,
we understand this is a tough budget. We understand what we passed. We know what we did.
We'll go to break in a couple of seconds. And when we come back, you have a few Darden getting yelled at sound bites.
Yeah, we have a hunk of it it's really well worth it. It really is.
It's okay. Let me see if I've got these numbers right. The budget that came out of the Senate Finance Committee is it a 10% tops cut? Is that what they cut tops?
It cuts tops to 70%.
Okay, so which is a 30% cut?
30% cut.
Seriously?
The House budget, I think, cut it to 80% or 90%.
So somewhere in the middle they shall meet.
Yes.
So the Senate budget cuts tops by 30%.
Yes.
3 out of every $10 gone.
And it Now, here's the other problem with this budget. It doesn't cut 2,000 state workers. What Jay Darden says is, if this budget passes, we will have to cut 2,000 state workers. That's what and I'm going to see Jay tomorrow, I hope. And I'm going to ask him, it's y'all's decision where these 24% cuts come from. Why have you chosen to end food stamps? Why have you chosen to fire 2,000 people?
Because we have the Greg Tarver cut. Because it goes back to what Senator Greg Tarver told us.
He sits on that committee.
X amount of time ago.
Yeah.
And I said at the beginning of this segment that you have asked every state official and or elected person who has come in here for the last year in talking about the ongoing state budget crisis as it is presented to the people of Louisiana by John Bell and his minions, Jay Darden, Alario, etc. You asked Greg Tarver that very same question, why can't you cut 10%? And he said, well, you can, but the first thing that government's going to do when you ask you to cut itself is
they're going to cut services that impact people. That's like don't make my head explode so early, Robert, but that's like the bosses coming to you and saying, Robert, we're going to cut your pay by 10%.
No, cut your department by 10%.
We're going to cut everything you take home is going to be cut by 10%. And you deciding,
yes.
Okay, I think I'll cut out food. I think I'll do without food.
For my children.
No more food.
If I had them.
No more food.
Yeah.
Not I'll cut cable or I'll cut my cell phone or I'll ride Uber instead of driving or any number of things you could cut. I think I'll cut food or water.
I'll lop the roof off my house.
Yeah.
That'll teach him.
How stupid.
Let's go to break. We'll cover this more when we get back. 19 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. It will be warm today with a mix of sun and clouds at a high around 89. Tonight, a partly cloudy sky. It will be muggy, a low down to 68. Tomorrow, a hot day with intervals of clouds and sunshine and a high right around 90. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Sports update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the Sports. This is Tim Fletcher. The Mudbugs take on Cinderella Story Minot for the NAHL Championship tonight at 7 in Blaine, Minnesota. The Robertson Cup final pits the Bugs, the team with the second-best regular season in the league, a squad that swept their semifinal series against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, against a Minotaurus team that had the worst record of all 16 teams that qualified for postseason play, in a group that was 2 goals down to top-seeded Fairbanks in the deciding game of their semifinal. LSU's off-again, on-again flirtation with NCAA tourney play is on again after a 7-3 win over Alabama, giving the Tigers the series win over the last-place Crimson Tide. Nick Bush gutted through 6 solid innings in the 92-degree heat to earn the win. Daniel Cabrera went 2 for 2 with a homer and 4 RBI to lead the offensive charge. Austin Bain banged one out of the park as well for the Tigers. Louisiana Tech rode a dual effort on the mound from Logan Bailey and David Leal to an 8-3 win over 19th-ranked Southern Miss, giving the Bulldogs the series win as well. Bailey started and gave up 2 earned runs in 5 innings, and Leal went 4 shutout innings for his first save. Parker Bates provided punch at the plate with a 4 RBI game. Playing his final game at Brown Stroud Field, Northwestern State's David Fry put on a show. The owner of multiple slots in the Demons record book, Fry homered twice to fuel the home team's 6-1 win over Abilene Christian to finish off a sweep of their Southland Conference Series. Boston Club Cleveland 108-83 to take Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics led by 21 in the first quarter and were never threatened. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-six past 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock. 26 past 6, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Let's hold off on the Jay Darden stuff until the 40 segment.
Okay, we also had Paul Elio in town Friday.
Okay, let me see if I understand
Your buddy.
this. We have time for this. Let me see if I understand this, because you paid really close attention.
Matt's going to have to help us.
So Paul Elio's plan, at its core, his plan to pay off his creditors is to pay them back with his own cryptocurrency called Elio Bucks.
Not exactly.
Oh, good. It's better than that or worse?
He basically, because they can't get on the legit stock market, he's sort of created his own where, let's say Robert J. Wright wants to invest in his company. Instead of just writing them a check and putting it in the mail, you buy into their fake Bitcoin.
Is it fake?
Well, I mean, it's digital money. None of it's real. But basically, much like Bitcoin or any other sort of cryptocurrency,
the only thing it's good with is people who will take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which would be Paul Elio.
Who would buy it?
I'm sure there's some idiot. I mean, Overstock.com
Overstock just gave him
$2.5
million.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing I found most interesting. A lot of people missed it. Somebody asked Mr. Elio about, their financials and whether they're still, like $100 million in the hole away from production and all this stuff. And his response was, and I'm pretty sure this is pretty close to a direct quote, that's just the public number. I got lots of things cooking. So I don't know if he's found some other morons to give him money or what.
Does his announcement of Elio coin, is that what it's called?
I think it is.
Elio
E-coins.
bucks. Elio bucks. Does it in any way, or you explain to me how Elio bucks,
Should be Wheelio Delio bucks.
what that has to do with him ever getting a car off the assembly line?
It's just more another way for him to make more money. That's basically.
In other words, if you give me, let me see if I got this right. So Paul Elio said, if you, Erin McCarty, give me $100,000 cash, I will give you in return $100,000 in Elio bucks.
Elio bucks.
Or whatever their conversion rate happens to be.
Ooh.
12 Elio bucks or whatever. Yeah.
Let me go get a check.
So if you give me, if you give Paul Elio $100,000, he will give you an agreed upon amount of Elio bucks.
Yeah.
His own created, his newly created cryptocurrency.
I want to create Erin bucks.
McCarty, you could.
Can I do that?
Absolutely. I guess.
Anybody can do it?
I think you have to go through the SEC, or at least that's what he sort of was trying to explain.
Okay.
But basically, this is just his own little stock market that he's created with fake money
to try to get people
to try to get more cash
to
out
raise
of
more
folks.
money. 29 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Erin, local news just a couple of seconds away. Here's Ruben, here's traffic, and it's on Keel.
Start things off looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. It will be warm today with a mix of sun and clouds at a high around 89. Tonight, a partly cloudy sky. It will be muggy, a low down to 68. Tomorrow, a hot day with intervals of clouds and sunshine and a high right around 90. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A violent weekend leaves 2 dead. Matt Parker with that.
2 people are dead following a bloody weekend in Shreveport. In the wee hours of Saturday morning, the passengers of 2 cars got into an altercation on Hearn Avenue. People in both vehicles were firing shots at each other until 15-year-old Leandre Spates was killed in the incident. Then, early Sunday morning in Cedar Grove, a man was shot numerous times in the upper body. Several people were detained in both shootings, but at this time, no arrests have been made. From 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
And more violence this morning. Police are still on the scene in the Highland neighborhood, the 300 block of Olive between Cody and Centenary. One man has apparently been shot dead there. There's a town hall meeting happening tomorrow morning beginning at 11 o'clock. It's on Margaret Place in the old Shumpert. It'll all be about the impact of the state budget on our local community. Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden will be there. Now, he went before the Senate Finance Committee to talk about the version of the budget they passed. He says it would be devastating to our state.
Senators, you have just put your fingerprints on a $96 million cut to higher education. This is on the heels of the current fiscal year where you and we funded higher education without a cut for the first time in a decade.
The Senate version of the budget would restore funding for nursing home care, but would cut higher ed. It would also cut 24% of budgets across the state. Darden says that would result in no more SNAP benefits in Louisiana. A bill to ban the use of cell phone devices while driving, expected to be voted on this week by the Senate. The bill would outlaw the use of any mobile device not operated through a wireless system. All 102 Miss USA and Miss Teen USA contestants are in town for the upcoming event. This past weekend, they held a huge welcoming party. Now today, it's the big parade. It rolls at noon in downtown Shreveport. The Shreveport Mudbugs will be playing for their first ever Robertson Cup tonight. The Bugs will take on the Minot Minotauros tonight in Minnesota in a one-game winner-take-all championship. President Donald Trump recognizing the contributions of women to America on Mother's Day. He also shared the story of his own mom.
My mother was a great person. Her name was Mary McLeod. She came from Scotland, and she met my father when she was very young. They were married for many, many years. I learned so much from my mother. She was just incredible. Warm, loving, really smart. Could be tough if she had to be, but basically she was a really nice person. So much of what I've done and so much of what I've become is because of my mother.
The president making those comments in a video message on his Twitter account. A book nearly 5 decades overdue has been returned to the San Francisco Public Library. The copy of Eldridge Cleaver's memoir, Soul on Ice, was due back December 9th, 1970. Now, the fine would have been more than $1,700, but they have a cap, 1001. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
FM and 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Say it with me, Minotauros.
Minotauros.
The Minot Minotauros.
Okay, we're going to beat them? Have we ever played them this year?
I do not know. Fairbanks, who is the prohibitive favorite to face the Mudbugs in the championship game tonight, lost to Minot, the number 16 seed out of 16 teams going to the playoffs.
We weren't supposed to beat Corpus. We weren't supposed to beat Lone Star.
Who?
I mean, the Mudbugs weren't expected to be there either.
We were favorites all the way. We were division champions.
Were we?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize
we
that.
won the division. So we were the number 1 seed of 4 in our division.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Of the 16 teams that went to the playoffs, 4 from each division, Minot was the team with the fewest points, the worst record of all 16.
Yeah, they're barely over 500. yet somehow through
including playoff wins.
Yeah.
They were 7 games under 500 for the regular season.
Man.
But they made the playoffs. They finished 4th place, and here they are. Tonight, yikes,
yeah.
tonight, playing the Mudbugs, a single game. I said, think of it as a 7-game series. We're just skipping the first 6.
Matt, where do I go watch it if I want to go watch it?
There are several places. Both Buffalo Wild Wings are having little viewing parties, as well as Larry's Pizzas.
Larry's at the corner of 70th and East Kings.
Okay. Very cool. That's
so
exciting.
You got
and
3
it starts
people.
about 7:30.
And if we win tonight,
Champions.
when
Done.
will they be home? We'll have a party. I'm sure they'll
Wednesday.
have a big party.
There's
the party?
a farewell, end of season, whatever you want to call it, party Wednesday at Hirsch at
5 to
Georgia's
7.
Pond.
Okay, and the
So-
public's invited to that?
Absolutely.
5 o'clock Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Win or lose tonight,
Win
we
or
should show
lose.
up.
Yeah.
Big time.
But it would be nice to bring the cup home.
Wow, no kidding. Is it big like the Stanley Cup?
It's as tall as you.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah, it's like 5'6".
Can I drink out of it?
Absolutely.
I'm loving this already.
You can barely control a small bottle of champagne. What makes you think you can drink out of a damn 7-foot cup?
I'm
We'll get
thinking
her a-
tequila up in there.
Get her a stool and a straw.
Oh, yeah.
639, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. If you missed the Jay Darden entire Senate.
Oh, boy.
I got ganged up on poor Mr. J.
I
That's
know.
coming up in just a couple of seconds. In the meantime, here's Ruben.
Start things off looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. A warm start to the weekend today with some sunshine, a high of 89. Partly cloudy for tonight, a low down to 68. And then for tomorrow, of intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high right around 90 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Will be eligible, including those who I think we would all recognize are those who are eligible and should benefit from that.
.117 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, so this is your call. News Director, Erin McCarty. This is your call. You think this Jay Darden stuff is worth the 5 or 5.5 minutes of playing?
Yeah, because there's so many line item things he went over saying we're going to cut this, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut this.
So this is Friday at the state in Baton Rouge at the Senate Budget Appropriations Committee.
The Senate Finance Committee.
Sorry. Okay. So let me hearken back before we start to the Hayride article from late Friday that was titled Edwards Lost, meaning John Bell. Edwards lost the Senate today, and here's why. And here's what they write. The constant woe is me strategy has yielded no results for Edwards so far. And it's almost amazing that he's stuck with it to the loyalty of a Stockholm Syndrome victim. Wow. He has predicted the imminent downfall of the Louisiana state government every year since he took office. And this week, meaning now, will be no different. With the current budget proposal from the Senate, while the current budget proposal from the Senate is certainly not ideal, it is survivable. Louisiana is not going to collapse. It can and will survive this, and frankly, it could survive the replacement of a quarter penny in sales tax from each of us. What it can't survive is constant bloating from big spenders who don't realize states cannot spend their way to prosperity. So this is Jay Darden, Senate Budget Committee on...
Senate Finance Committee.
Finance Committee. I keep getting that wrong because I don't know. The Senate Finance Committee on Friday, and here is the constant, woe is me. Do you agree?
He's got the budget axe out.
The constant, woe is me, bleating.
This is what the budget that you've already voted for and put your name on does. More than 2,000 state employees will receive pink slips. The 24% cuts stretch across the whole spectrum of government, a government that is primarily dependent upon state general funds to pay salaries. These cuts will be on top of the $600 million in cuts we have already made, the $120 million cuts that we will have to make even under the budget we proposed, and all the cuts that have been happening over the course of the previous administration. A 24% cut to agencies simply cannot be addressed without reducing positions to the extent that departments will be rendered impotent. The state will be liable for 300 hours of term pay per employee, plus an unexpected and unprecedented increase in retirement benefits. Senators, you have just put your fingerprints on a $96 million cut to higher education. This is on the heels of the current fiscal year where you and we funded higher education without a cut for the first time in a decade, fully funded TOPS. We will regress faster than what happened during the entire previous 8 years when public support dropped to the lowest in the country and tuition increased faster than any other state in America. We can increase fees, perhaps, that may be allowable, but that's just tuition in disguise that the schools may be able to do to try and keep their doors open and not have to terminate professors and not have to eliminate classes. Senator Fannon's not here right now, but the Ag Center is going to declare financial exigency. They have no other choice. $10 million reduction in their budget. They'll discontinue most of the extension programs. They'll end the 4-H program as we know it, and they have no other option. As you know, they don't get tuition, and they'll have massive layoffs. TOPS will be funded, according to this budget, at 70% instead of the 80% that the House proposed to fund TOPS, sending a message that you favor a cut larger than the House at a time when enrollment decisions are being made. And again, all this is qualified with my understanding that you don't like what you just did, but you don't have to do what you just did is the point I'm making. But if this budget stands, the military will close the Carville facility, 13 armories, 300 positions, and 2 youth challenge programs. The Department of Veterans Affairs, Senator White, will eliminate the cemetery program. We'll owe the federal government $12 million to repay the construction cost of these facilities. Museums will invariably close. State parks will invariably close. The Department of Agriculture will close all of its fire substations across the state, reducing response times because firefighters are going to be terminated. Meat inspectors will be terminated. The Fast Start program in economic development, Senator Johns, will be reduced by almost 30%. Instead of being the top program in the country for the 9th consecutive year, we'll have to explain to those who have invested in Louisiana from an economic development standpoint, counting on this program, that we just changed our mind and we can't deliver on our promises. Per diem for sheriff's housing will drop from $24.39 to $16.95. You'll have to either change the statute or immediately provoke deficit spending at the beginning of the fiscal year to satisfy that reduction. No sheriff in the state is going to keep our state inmates at that rate. One has already left at what we're paying now, but none of them will be able to sustain a program with this magnitude of a cut. The department tells us that they'll have 15,000 state inmates return to their custody, and they will furlough probably 1,700 offenders. Not sure they'll all be those state inmates returned, but people will be sleeping in I don't know where they'll be sleeping. I don't know where they'll put these 15,000 to 13,000 new people, perhaps in the chapels at the prisons, in makeshift tents, whatever the case may be, all guarded by correction officers who have a turnover rate of 70%. Because of the pay that they received and the pressures that they're under. This will only exacerbate that. We won't have reentry programs. The Office of Juvenile Justice will eliminate the probation and parole offices and close one of the 3 currently operated facilities without opening the new $20 million Bunkie facility. There'll be no oversight for these youngsters who will be further destined for occupancy in our adult prison system, if we have one, down the road. Louisiana will become the first state in America to tell the federal government that we will not administer a SNAP program. No food stamps, period. No disaster food stamps, paid by federal dollars, but states are obligated to pay for the administration of that program. They can't do it if the money's not there. $70 million in federal funds will be returned to the United States government for distribution elsewhere in America, and people who are dependent upon that program, though it has its critics and, frankly, from my perspective, sometimes well-deserved, nonetheless, nobody will be eligible, including those who I think we would all recognize are those who are eligible and should benefit from that.
649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic.
Starting things off looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Still warm start to the weekend today with some sunshine, a high of 89. Partly cloudy for tonight, a low down to 68. And then for tomorrow, of intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high right around 90 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson. With a high right around 90 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
I'm Jennifer Kashika with your Money Now.
It is 8 before 7 o'clock, time for Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Mudbugs take on Cinderella Story Minot for the NAHL Championship tonight at 7 in Blaine, Minnesota. The Robertson Cup final pits the Bugs, the team with the second-best regular season in the league, a squad that swept their semifinal series against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, against a Minotaurus team that had the worst record of all 16 teams that qualified for postseason play, in a group that was 2 goals down to top-seeded Fairbanks in the deciding game of their semifinal. LSU's off-again, on-again flirtation with NCAA tourney play is on again after a 7-3 win over Alabama, giving the Tigers the series win over the last-place Crimson Tide. Nick Bush gutted through 6 solid innings in the 92-degree heat to earn the win. Daniel Cabrera went 2 for 2 with a homer and 4 RBI to lead the offensive charge. Austin Bain banged one out of the park as well for the Tigers. Louisiana Tech rode a dual effort on the mound from Logan Bailey and David Leal to an 8-3 win over 19th-ranked Southern Miss, giving the Bulldogs the series win as well. Bailey started and gave up 2 earned runs in 5 innings, and Leal went 4 shutout innings for his first save. Parker Bates provided punch at the plate with a 4 RBI game. Playing his final game at Brown Stroud Field, Northwestern State's David Fry put on a show. The owner of multiple slots in the Demons record book, Fry homered twice to fuel the home team's 6-1 win over Abilene Christian to finish off a sweep of their Southland Conference Series. Boston Club Cleveland 108-83 to take Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics led by 21 in the first quarter and were never threatened. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Good morning, 655. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Okay, so Paul Elio was here Friday. Friday, right?
Yep.
And there was a press conference, and here we go, because he has invented, it's called Elio coin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's
like Bitcoin.
Yeah, for lack of a better description. Mm-hmm. Many companies already use cryptocurrency, digital currencies like the popular Bitcoin.
Right.
To raise money. And Elio intends Elio coin, ready, Elio intends Elio coin to be a safer bet than other offerings. What was that? Gotta go. We'll talk about this more after 7 o'clock.
Oh, boy.
Do you got your Elio bucks yet?
Let me go get my checkbook.
Let's get some Monopoly money. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Rush.
Florida City Council met to decide whether to join other California cities opposing California's sanctuary law. The meeting room was filled to overcapacity, 200-plus residents signing up to speak. Outside, protesters for and against the sanctuary law took positions on opposite sides of the building. Inside, pro-sanctuary speakers resorted to the usual name-calling. They called those who want immigration laws enforced racist. They accused them of sending an unfriendly message that Santa Clarita is anti-family. Anti-sanctuary speakers defended law and order, pointing out sanctuary cities' high crime rates and the burden on taxpayers. And then things grew raucous. Protesters chanting about hate were confronted by opponents calling them socialists and demanded they speak English. But in the end, the Santa Clarita City Council voted unanimously 5-0 to support Trump's lawsuit against California sanctuary laws. They became the first city in Los Angeles County to do so. Now that sends a message, all right. The citizens' rebellion is spreading, and it is not going to be crushed. You want to know a stat? Half the population of this country lives under sanctuary law. Not kidding. If you were fumbling around in the dark and somebody handed you a flashlight, you'd take it, right? Shouldn't it be the same when it comes to spotting threats to your identity and the data on your devices? The digital world is so full of connections, it may only take one weak link for criminals to get in. Now, fortunately, new LifeLock identity theft protection now adds the power of Norton Security to shine light on the threats to your data today. Threats to your identity and threats to your computer or tablet like ransomware or emerging viruses. Of course, no one can stop every cyber threat or prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But new LifeLock with Norton detects a wide range of threats that you may not see on your own. Join now and get an additional 10% off your first year. Just go to lifelock.com and enter the promo code RUSH. That's lifelock.com. Remember, enter my name, RUSH. That's when the magic happens.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Partly sunny, high 91 today, then partly cloudy, low 69 tonight. Sunny to partly cloudy with a high near the record of 94 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking.
A high near the record of 94 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Protesting the new embassy in Jerusalem. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox
7:03, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Miss Erin getting ready for local news. That's up next.
More violence, including a murder in Shreveport early today. What impact will the state budget have on health care in Shreveport? There's a big town hall meeting starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll have more on that. And the Miss USA, Miss Teen USA parade, free to the public today.
TheHayride.com had an article Friday that says John Bell has lost the Senate, that they understand that woe is me, the sky is falling, just isn't working anymore.
Right.
How many more groups can John Bell try to scare is basically their point. We will explore. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Miss USA events kicking off. All 102 Miss USA and Miss Teen USA contestants are in town for the big event. This past weekend, they had a huge welcoming party. Now, both mayors and several other local leaders will be involved today in a free Mardi Gras parade for the contestants in downtown Shreveport. It rolls at noon. The pageant, which will be held at George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum, is May 21st. It's expected to generate close to $5 million for the local community. You're invited to a town hall meeting tomorrow to talk about the state budget and the impact locally. It's being held on Margaret Place, the old Shumpert. Part of the focus, of course, will be health care in our community. More violence in Shreveport. A man is killed on Olive Street in the Highland neighborhood early today. The search is on for suspects. The man was apparently shot in the head in the parking lot in the area where there are some security cameras. Police are going over that footage now. Over the weekend, 2 young people were killed in shootings. Early Saturday morning, the passengers of 2 cars got into an altercation on Hearn Avenue. People in both cars were firing shots. 15-year-old Leandre Spates was killed. Then early Sunday morning in Cedar Grove, a man was shot several times in the upper body. Several people were detained in both of those shootings, but at this time, no arrests have been made. A deputy's on leave after a shooting. Bossier Sheriff Julian Whittington has placed a deputy on paid leave following a Friday night shooting. The deputy shot Benjamin Sellers during a domestic abuse and armed robbery call in Houghton. That incident remains under investigation. The budget battle ramps up this week. The Senate Finance Committee has passed a budget that would restore funding for nursing home patients, but it would cut higher ed and it would cut all state departments by 24%. Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden says this would be bad for Louisiana.
This is what the budget that you've already voted for and put your name on does. More than 2,000 state employees will receive pink slips.
Darden says the Senate budget would also mandate there be no SNAP benefits in our state. The new cell phone bill aims to save lives. Matt Parker with that.
A bill to ban the use of handheld mobile devices while driving is expected to be voted on this week by the Louisiana Senate. The bill would outlaw the use of any mobile device not operated through a wireless system. Several lawmakers in favor of the bill say it is designed to save lives, as Louisiana ranks near the top in distracted driving accidents and traffic fatalities. The rise in distracted driving accidents has caused insurance rates to make a significant jump. Opponents of the bill say the law will be hard to enforce. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A constitutional amendment requiring unanimous jury verdicts in all felony trials set for a vote in the House today. Louisiana, one of two states that does not require unanimous jury decisions. Legal analyst Tim Mesh says Louisiana's system influences DAs to charge suspects with crimes that have longer sentences just to have a better chance at a conviction.
Sometimes they could charge them with crimes that require a six-person unanimous jury, but they'll charge them with the 10-2 verdict, thereby increasing the sentence.
The Shreveport Mudbugs play for their first ever Robertson Cup tonight. The Bugs will take on Minot in Minnesota in a one-game winner-take-all championship. And a 95-year-old woman arrested in Florida on a domestic violence charge. She slapped her defiant 46-year-old granddaughter with a slipper during an argument. State leaders say this is just not what the domestic abuse laws are designed for. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. It's time for traffic. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Partly sunny, high 91 today, then partly cloudy, low 69 tonight. Sunny to partly cloudy with a high near the record of 94 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twelve after 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. You're waving frantically at your end of the gopher-shaped broadcast table.
You know, our convo with Jay Beasy on Friday.
With Governor John Bell Edwards,
Yeah.
as we respectfully refer to him.
People came in the room after and they said he sounded a little bit irritated. And you know why now I know? Because I thought the same thing. He knew about this Senate budget. He knew what Jay Darden was going to do later that day. Because they had it all documented already. They had it all ready to go. Jay had a prepared speech ready. So he knew this was going to be a tough day ahead for him. So that's why he sounded a little irritated, I
thought
think.
he sounded purposeful. I thought he sounded as though a man with let's get right to the meat of the matter. We don't have time for a little chit-chat here. We are facing the state. The state, once again, in John Bell's mind, is at a crisis point.
Yep.
But I ask you, look, let me read to you once again from thehayride.com. Okay? John Bell Edwards lost the Senate today. This was written late Friday.
Yep.
John Bell Edwards lost the Senate today.
Sounds like a song.
Here's why.
John Bell Edwards lost the Senate today.
Here's why.
John Bell Edwards lost the Senate today.
The constant woe is me strategy. Would it be fair to say he's done that? Worse yet, has it been woe is me or woe is you?
Ooh, it's woe is everyone.
My point exactly.
Woe is everyone.
So every time the budget from somebody starts to get discussed, John Bell says, and you must admit, he always says, unless you give me, it's the old National Lampoon magazine cover. Buy this magazine or we're going to kill the dog.
Yeah.
Give me what I want or disaster will happen.
No LSU football.
Parkey, how long will it take you to pull up the Greg Tarver cut? This is one of the greatest. This may be undoubtedly the best soundbite of 2018.
Because I ask everyone, every state leader, lawmaker, when we start talking about the budget, I am emphatic about this. Why can't we just tell every department head, you're the experts, go back to your office, cut out 10% of your budget?
Let me ask you something.
It frustrates me.
You are a department head. You are, for all intents and purposes, the department head of KEEL Radio.
Yes.
If you had to cut 10%, how long would it take you to cut 10%, and could you do it?
Yes.
Without damaging the product?
Absolutely. Absolutely could find 10%. I mean, it'd be a struggle. Don't act like the boss is listening. We're on belt tightening. We're tight around here. But I could find things that we could go another year.
Let's not drive the van as much.
Yeah, let's not buy new chairs every 2 years or whatever it is. Let my butt stay in a dirty chair.
The point is that in your mind, you could cut 10% from your annual budget and not damage the product, i.e., not cut services to listeners.
Yeah. And Greg Tarver sits on the Senate Finance Committee. That is a powerful committee. Very powerful.
So what did you ask Mr. Gregg? The same thing that you asked virtually everybody else.
I said, Greg, why can't you guys tell all these state department heads, go back, cut your budget 10%?
Well, let me give you examples better. Before you go to DHH that deal with the Medicaid program, they're going to cut waivers. They know the legislature is not going to cut waivers. You're not going to cut waivers for little bitty kids who are in wheelchairs. They know that, but they'll send you that 10%. And no, you're not going to cut that 10%.
So they're not going to send you real cuts. They're going to send you ones that know that'll make your phone ring.
So what you're saying is that if every state department head were told to cut 10%, the first thing they'd cut would be services to the people?
That's exactly right, because they know you are not going to do that.
And yet, when we asked him that last week about the governor's latest series of warnings, I shan't say threats, warnings, he said, yeah, but this is different. They'll really have to do it this time.
Yeah, exactly.
The constant woe is me, back to the hayride. The constant woe is me, woe is us. I'm going to insert, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Strategy has yielded no results for Edwards so far. And it's almost amazing that he's stuck with it with the loyalty of a Stockholm Syndrome victim. Good writing. He has predicted the imminent downfall of Louisiana state government every year since he took office, and this week, right now, will be no different. While the current budget proposal from the Senate is certainly not ideal, it is survivable. Louisiana is not going to collapse. It can survive, and frankly, it could survive the replacement of a quarter penny in sales tax from each of us. What it cannot survive is constant bloating from big spenders who don't realize that states cannot spend their way to prosperity. You were just waving a second ago.
Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden is going to join us at 7:40. And he kind of was on the griddle Friday. He's going
to be in town when?
He's here tomorrow for the town hall meeting. It's being held at Margaret Place, the old Shumpert. The university health people, the med school, lots of folks are going to be participating. Dr. Ghali will be there. It's going to be a big wing ding.
If the litany, if the go-to position of the governor and his administration is woe is me, woe is us, quoting the hayride once again. If woe is me, woe is us. And they started off with, we're going to have to kick old people out of those nursing homes. And now the latest one is, we're going to have to take those poor kids off of the SNAP benefits.
Yep.
People are going to starve.
2,000 state workers will be laid off.
If the last two positions of Governor Edwards has been, old people are going to die, little kids are going to starve, do you think for an instant that at tomorrow's meeting he's going to change his tune? Do you?
No.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7. What?
When we come back, what a Mother's Day.
For you?
Yeah. It was kind of cool.
19 after 7 o'clock. Traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be partly sunny with a high of 91, partly cloudy tonight, low 69, hot with sun and some clouds and a high near the record of 94 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
$7:21 traffic time. No. Sports time. Here's Fletch on KEEL.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Mudbugs take on Cinderella Story Minot for the NAHL Championship tonight at 7 in Blaine, Minnesota. The Robertson Cup final pits the Bugs, the team with the second-best regular season in the league, a squad that swept their semifinal series against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, against a Minotaurus team that had the worst record of all 16 teams that qualified for postseason play in a group that was 2 goals down to top-seeded Fairbanks in the deciding game of their semifinal. LSU's off again, on again flirtation with NCAA